So we're here at the Scale Up Summit, and I'm with Molly Wendell, who is the author of The Networked Organization and also founder of one of the largest executive network organizations. So Molly, there's a lot of buzz about the networked organization. Define it for us.
So the networked organization is all about having everyone in your organization be intentional about building relationships in order to accelerate growth. That's what it comes down to. You have a lot of people out there, out and about already, but how can they really be thinking about what can I do to bring revenue to our organization without turning them into a lot of salespeople?
Yeah, but are you just talking about the leadership or mid-management, or what about the engineer?
It's everyone. Everyone has a friend, a neighbor, a family member. Everyone has a network. You don't know if their network's 2 people, 200, 2,000. And so they have a network and an opportunity. It's often that they're not asked. And so it's really a matter of getting them engaged and getting them to want to help identify opportunity for the organization. They're out and about anyway.
Yeah, but listening to you, I got this sense, and you can see it even with our audience of entrepreneurs, that I got to tell you, a lot of folks are very uncomfortable with that whole network situation. I know the woman asked the question about, and you see all the folks hanging together in one corner at the event. So how do you handle that?
Most people, they hang out with each other because they're comfortable. And most people are highly uncomfortable talking to strangers. And the reality is it's because most people show up and throw up. They say, oh, what am I going to talk about? But if you start twisting it around and turning it upside down and saying, instead of me talking all about myself, instead of me showing up and throwing out my life story on others, what can I learn about them? What can I find the fascinating in them? And so it's more about being interesting by being interested in them. And I talk about the 7 questions I ask to get every person engaged, to make them like me, first of all. If people want to do business with people they like, with people they trust, it's rare that people want to do business with people they don't like. So step 1 is get them to like you, get them engaged, get them talking, not you.
Yeah, and how do you do that? I share those questions.
Okay,
well,
great.
By the way, first of all, I love that you started with a handshake, and the fact that most of us mess that up, and so you described that well.
Right.
But get into, how do we start that conversation?
So the 7 questions that I use, the first thing I ask everyone is, what do you do? All right, and then that leads me to, where do you work? And if they answered where they work in that first question, I don't ask that again. So what do you do, where do you work, how long have you been there? And then my next question is, and where were you before that? And how long were you there? The next set of questions, and where were you before that? And how long were you there? So it's really 3 questions with 2 repeats each time. And what I'm really trying to do is figure out what their network looks like. Again, I don't know whether your network's 2 people, 200, or 2,000, but it's my job to figure it out. And once I can see what your network looks like, I can try and figure out where there's value in it, where there's value for me to help you, where there's value for you to help me, or perhaps someone else I know. So those are my 7 questions. I use them every time the same way. And you'd be amazed how fascinating people are and how much that kind of breaks the ice to get the conversation going and get them engaged more.
And you laid out kind of 7 rules. What of those you think is most critical?
There are 2 that I think are most critical. The first one is, it's not about you. It's about everyone but you. So networking is not about going out and handing out the most business cards or going out and telling the most people about your business. It's not about you. It's about learning about other people and learning about them. So that's number 1. The second rule is let them win. And let them win is a concept where you quit one-upping people, you quit trumping people. If someone said, you say, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, I'm feeling kind of sick. It's not an invitation to give sick back, not an invitation to tell about the 3-week bout with the flu that you had. You meet someone or see someone and they say, oh, where have you been? I was on vacation for the last week. Oh, where'd you go? I went to Hawaii. This is not your opportunity to talk about your great Hawaiian vacation. It's your opportunity to let them win, let them be more sick, have the better vacation, have the worst day, have the better day, whatever day they feel like having, you let them win, you let them have it. And what you're there to do is support the conversation. Most people think they're contributing to the conversation by telling their story, but actually they're stealing from the conversation. So those 2 things, I would say, out of all the rules I talk about, number 1, number 7, it's not about you and let them win, are the 2 that are going to take you the furthest in extending and engaging relationships.
So Molly, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
It
Ren.
is such a critical skill, and I love your specifics around this. So everybody, grab a copy of her book, The Networked Organization, and get better network.